Boy! How you doing? Sunday. You know what that means. I'm here again. Do a little blathering for you. Man, not much to talk about really from this week. I feel like I've been kind of screwing off in a way. I've been in the shop, a lot of bicycle type stuff, Phil's box. I did something else too. I can't even remember. Oh, I've been milling some wood for. I got to fix a door. It's so funny. There's so many things I should probably be filming that I don't do. I'm a bad YouTuber. I'm a bad YouTuber. I really am. I mean, it hit me today too. Like I could easily get on the bicycle and ride around the neighborhood here and go down back alleys and show you guys Los Angeles on the bike, and people ask me to do it, and stuff like that would probably do well. I probably should. I get easily distracted. That ADD is no joke, man. And I'm a YouTube junkie, and I've got this great day bed right here that you can't see that's underneath these nice windows. I'm on the second floor, and I've got these trees out here that give me privacy, and at night the nice cool breeze wafts through, which brings me to the point I wanted to talk about when it comes to the idea of moving to Arizona, because that's going to happen. It has to happen. It only makes sense. And I was thinking hard on it last night. I really love my pad here. I like living here in this pad, in this apartment. I like being on the second floor. I always feel safer on the second floor. And with these windows with the plants that grow on the outside of them, it's like being in my own little tree house. I never liked being on the first floor. And that's the thing about the house in Arizona. It's just a single story home. So I got to do something to make myself feel more comfortable. It's just a psychological thing. It's easier if somebody wanted to come get you. It's easy, man. If I wanted to go after somebody, they're on the first floor. It's easy. So it's one of those things that play around in my head all the time. And yeah, that was on my mind last night. And this morning I got up and I thought I'm going to go to the swap meet today, which it's not like I got the money to be spending on stuff right now. But just never know what you're going to find. And I feel like I scored. I'll show you in a moment. And on the way there, I get a phone call from my buddy George. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description to this video of the last time I hung out with George. I always talk about him, and I forget where he lives all the time. He's in Arizona. But now I remember it's Safford. It's this mining town in Arizona. It's kind of like eastern Arizona, like central eastern Arizona there. Maybe a little south of midway of Arizona. And George and I served together in the Marine Corps. We both got in a crap ton of trouble when we were security force Marines. And we were the only two Greek guys on base at the time. And so we bonded over that. And he's the guy, we just had a good laugh about it because, the idea of me living in Arizona is going to be great because I got friends there. It's not just him. My brother and his wife and my nieces, and they all live up near like Williams and Prescott, and there's another area over there I can't think of the name of off the top of my head here. I remembered Safford, so I can't think of the other one that starts with a Slegman. My brother has a place, two places. One place is west of Slegman, and on the old Route 66. And then a couple guys I know from here in LA used to ride motorcycles with. They're living down in Bisbee, which is just 30 minutes from where I have the house. So there's already stuff there. I know other people live there. Some of you live there. One of you comment all the time. I forget your name. I forget everybody's name. I read the comments. I know who you are, but I can't put the names together because it's just online, But somebody lives in Benson. That's real sweet here on the channel. And so it's going to be fun being there. But in particular with George, because we just have this history, and he's like one of the few guys I know still, other than people on the East Coast, where we could get together, and if, let's say, we're having a bad day or we decide to commiserate and have some beers or something, we could literally just beat the crap out of each other for fun. I know that doesn't sound normal to most people. For guys like us, that's fun and normal. And I miss that. I miss the guy who used to be like, "What'd you say?" Bam! Hey, man. Bam! It's like, I still haven't grown out of that. That's fun. That's fun stuff. At any rate, he also has so George's been working in the mines, but he built himself a new house with his girlfriend, and they have some property there, and he built a shop. And George has a business. Don't go hounding him right now because he's just trying to get back into it again. But I think you should look it up. It's called Spartan Frameworks. And George is a welder, but he's an artist. He's like me. We're very similar. We take what we do to a level of art. His welds are incredible. But George, for years, was making, out of 4130 mainly, motorcycle frames, V-twins, Harley frames. And he does these bitchin' crazy front ends with leaf springs and all kinds of wild stuff. And a lot of the stuff he's done has been in the hardcore biker mags, for years. He's a known dude in that world. Spartan Frameworks, George Kunis. So he's back to that now. And he just did his first frame in a long time, and he's working on a front end right now. And we were talking about it because he's like, man, it's just been so long. I feel like I'm not there. And I know it because I go long stints between doing like a nice piece of furniture. It's like you have to relearn your skills in a way. And he's going through that right now. But he'll get it back and start doing that all the time. And it was just funny talking to him today because I was like, I miss riding motorcycles, but I don't miss riding motorcycles in Los Angeles where it seems like they're trying to kill you. But in Arizona, that would be a lot better. And I could see myself possibly on a Harley there. But I like more the dirt track style, not so much the big giant Harleys with the fairings on them and everything. Maybe I could see maybe a hardtail, maybe, chopper sort of thing, cruising around. So we'll see. But I've been planting the seeds with him. You know what I mean? Laying the groundwork mentally. Like, hey, just keep your eyes peeled if you see something, because if we do something together, it's going to be cool. And it's just really nice to talk to him. And I'm looking forward to that. Once again, forgot to look at the watch. This is my this is not a high-end watch, by the way. This happens to be a Pagani design. People poop on this company to a certain extent, but this particular watch, it's pretty much their homage to the IWC. It's got two subdials, and one's the second hand, and the other's a power reserve. And it's just beautiful, and it's got these beautiful blued hands. Obviously, I made the cuff for it, line. I got a Patek Philippe buckle on here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, now that it's getting cooler, I can go back to wearing my cuffs. Love these things. This also brings me to what I picked up at the swap meet today. I keep forgetting the time. You look at the funny thing about some of these watches is you go to look at the time, and you look at the watch, and you go, "That's such a good looking thing." And I start looking at the details, and then I'm like, I got to look at it again to look at what the time was. But at least I don't get lost in emails and other messages like I would if I was looking at the phone. Okay, let's slow it down. Went to the swap meet, and there was this setup there. They've been there before. Last year, you might remember, I picked up this from them. I still have it. It's a box of Hurst T-shifters. Most of these are just brand new, never used. And there's a couple old ones that were used. Like this one here is pretty cool because it's got the button. This is a brake lock, so you do burnouts. And there's one B&M here. Pretty cool. I got this whole box for like $40. It was insane because I know I could sell these for upwards of $100 a piece. Some more, some a little less, just because of condition. What a great deal. That was incredible. And the way it happened was I asked the guy, and he said $40. I said, how much for the whole bin? And then there was an argument between him and the guy he was working with. And I said, oh, no, that's not. If it's the whole thing for $40, I'll buy it. Otherwise, I'm not interested. And then they sold me the whole bin. They just don't want to put it back in the truck at the end of the day. That was an incredible score. Here we are a year later. Oh, Jesus. Work out with this. Which we got to talk about working out, too, in a minute. Look at this. Now, this is crazy. So, on the top here, there's stuff that's I could definitely use, will definitely come in handy. It's mostly these trim washers. This whole bag is stainless steel from size 6 all the way up to 12, I'm guessing it looks like in here. Different sizes. These are just finished grommet washer type things. When you're putting things together, nice trim on there. And we got another one here of brass, mostly brass in this bag. There's other bags in here. I haven't looked at this completely yet, so I really don't know. Well, here's one tied off that's just, it's light, so these are probably just steel. They could be aluminum. I guess I'm going to have to check with a magnet. At any rate, this is good quality stuff, and I can use it. This one here is all brass. It's going to get better. Then I found in here was a nice grommet kit with everything I need for these big I have a couple grommet kits, 2 other sizes. This is a very large size for me, but hey, if you got a tarp, boom. I keep grommets and a grommet kit with me in the van, and I've used it almost every time I've been on the road to do whatever. Even that awning you'll see me put up on the van, I put grommets with leather. I used leather with the grommet through the fabric inboard of the corners where I have tie-off points on the roof of my van. I have these D-rings up there. So it's amazing. I did the hat where I put the grommets in the hat, the cowboy hat, and ran the cord through it on the camping trip last time. So having stuff like this with you in the van to be able to do things, do crafty things, repair things, this is invaluable. This is what I'm excited about. And this is going to sound silly to some people. I'm so excited. Now I have to organize it. Right here is the kit, the little anvils and the setting tools for it. But this is all snaps. I've been looking for snaps. I'll go on eBay. I'll go on Amazon. I can't find heavy-duty snaps that are brass, that have brass snap rings in them. And here's a whole giant thing of this. I can't get over it. And what's really neat is some of these have screws in them. So this here is something you would set in wood, or I could set this in the sheet metal of the van and then put a snap together, right? This would be the female part of the snap, and here's the back part. This goes through the fabric, right? Boom. And then you use the anvil and a little setting tool, and I'd probably use my press I made. And then this is screwed to your vehicle, and now you got this on a piece of fabric, and boom, you snap it together. Because I have an idea to make these insulated window shades basically for the inside of the Astro van, and that's the way I wanted to do it. But I couldn't find this stuff. Now, part of my problem is I don't know the proper terminology of these things. You guys helped me out on the last video where I was asking for the cleat system, the cord cleat, for the box that I'm sending to Phil. I don't have a price on the shipping yet. I got to the post office too late yesterday, so I'll be doing it tomorrow morning. But somebody told me what to look for, and I looked it up, and it all just popped up. So I'll be talking to Phil about that at some point and tell him, hey, buy one of these things. It'll make your life easy. I would have bought it for him. I would have put it on there if I knew what to look for. So this has that. It has a couple different ways to do snaps. It's got some really weird stuff I've never seen before, but I'm just so excited for these high quality parts that I can use. It's like, I feel like I found a pirate treasure. Silver and gold, silver and gold. Oh, that's perfect. That was Cornelius, right? Yukon Cornelius from the old, that was, I think that's the one with the Heat Miser. I'm Mr. Heat Miser, I'm Mr. Sun. Whatever I touch melts in my clutch. You guys know that. When they took it off the air because of sibling rivalry was the rumor. That the Heat Miser and his brother, Mr. Freeze, and the big giant, the guy, put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be what? You guys remember these claymation kind of things? Stop motion. If you're my age, you remember. The best thing about Christmas is those shows. Now you got to watch them on YouTube because I don't think they put them on TV anymore. At any rate, that's how I feel right now. Yukon Cornelius. Pretty stoked about this. This is really exciting. Now I just got to organize it. So it'll be easy for me just to pick the parts when I'm putting something together. This is a big friggin' deal. And the snaps alone, just for other things. It's a nice, heavy-duty, large snap. Quality stuff. So much of the stuff that you're buying is made in China. I don't think these are. I think this is old USA stuff. We'll find out how it works. You guys will see that. I'll do a whole video on it. And that's it. Pretty excited about that. So, okay. that's it, man. I mean, I really haven't done anything this week other than far around the shop. You know, the thing about the shop is I I never thought I'd be in the space this long. So I kind of haphazardly set that space up, and I keep finding more stuff, collecting more things, and just kind of throwing it in there. And it's relatively organized. I know where most of the stuff is, but there's just stuff on top of stuff. So getting to it is a hassle. I've got this one big table that's on wheels that's really just a catch-all of junk. And I can clean it off, excuse me, but I have to find a place for that stuff, which ends up being on top of other stuff. And then I clear off the table to use as an assembly table. And then when I'm done with that, that stuff has to move back on there, because now I got to get that machine that I put all the stuff that was on the table on top of the machine. But now I need to use the machine. So I got to take the stuff off the machine, put it back on the table. Next thing you know, the table's overflowing crap again. It's a problem. So when I start setting stuff up in Arizona, it's going to be very well organized. Floor to ceiling, shelving at the correct depth for the items. So I'm not putting stuff in front of others. You get it. I'm going to be better organized when I'm doing that. But that's what happened this week. It was like a constant just moving stuff around, finding new spots for stuff so I can do this or do that. It's just because you can lose 10 minutes like that. And then you can lose 10 minutes 6 times, let's say. That's an hour of lost time, right? 60 minutes throughout the course of a day, just moving things around. And I just can't, that inefficiency kills me. And knowing I'm going to deal with that inefficiency will oftentimes keep me from even doing anything. I had to clean this apartment yesterday, and I still have one last thing I got to fill out for that VA stuff, and I haven't done it. I need to do it. I should do it today. That's why I'm doing this now. It's relatively early. I'm hoping I can get to that when I'm done. And it made me think of this apartment too, because it's the same thing. I did a lot of custom work in this apartment. I took a wall down in the bathroom years ago and put an arch up in there. Actually, other people did that work, because at the time I'd blown my ankle out on a movie set back in the 90s. So I was actually, right out of surgery, basically bedridden when they had guys up here working on the apartment. I've done a lot of stuff in here. But I always held back. Because I never thought I'd be here this long. And here it is, over 30 years in this apartment. I could have put a pull-down ladder and a hole in the roof and had access from my bedroom to the roof. I've done that in other apartments here. We're not supposed to, probably. But you can have roof access from inside your apartment. That's pretty cool. Never did it. Just never did it. Because I didn't think I'd be here this long. So my point there is to you, if you live in a place and you have the means, the tools to do cool stuff, and if you can, right, if the owners are cool, I say do it as quick as possible. Just get it over with, because even if you're just there for a year, the happiness that you get from that thing that you did, it's worth it for just a year, even 6 months. Like, there's a wall here, there's a doorway going into the kitchen. In the old days, they had a full-size door that was spring-loaded. You could push it in both directions, go into the kitchen, come out of the kitchen. I guess that the neat thing about that was there's a space heater on the wall here. So if you had that on, you could just heat this room and not heat the kitchen. That's probably what that was about, I suppose. But with that door in the morning, it'd be super dark in here because the sun rises in the east over there. So that door, none of the units I've ever seen here ever have that door anymore. They're all gone. They were taken out decades ago. And there's this little short wall between the front door and the door that goes into the kitchen. And on the other side of that wall, back in the day, there was a built-in there. There was a table that folds down out of the wall, and there was a built-in bench seat. That was all ripped out before I got in here. And I always wanted to take that wall out and leave like a knee wall, bar height, put a bar top on it, build a cabinet in the lower section for storage. Thought about that for years. And it's a bearing wall, but that's not a big deal because I could put a beam in there. So it's not a big deal. That's what they're doing now with the singles. The singles that are in this unit that I live in are basically like this living room that I'm sitting in right now. The front door would be there, the kitchen, and the bathroom would be right there. It's basically, that's the size of it. And what they're doing now is exactly what I just said. They're opening up the wall. They're putting in a bar height, bar top there, which kind of opens the whole room, lets more light bounce around. That's a thing. I should have done it. I should have done it 25 years ago when I was first thinking about it. So just do it. And these are the thoughts I'm having right now about getting into that house in Arizona and all the stuff that I want to do. So these are all just, that's what my Sunday is today, is kind of like, it started last night thinking it out. Let me show you something else real quick. Because I'm staring at it. I mentioned this in a video recently about like my mom breaking some stuff when I was a little kid that my dad had bought for me. And I found it on eBay and rebought it. Of course, the guy has no money buying stuff on eBay. Oh, by the way, this whole thing right here, $30. I feel like that's a pretty good deal. They wanted $40. $40 is like their number on these bins full of stuff. I don't think that I could have gotten this for $30, the amount of stuff that's in here. I think that this was a crazy good score, and it's going to last a very, very long time. Now, this was $5, okay? And it's just amazing my thoughts on this thing. This is something my dad bought me the day I was born. I was born on December 28th. It's this little porcelain Santa boot. These are all made in Japan. Where's my peepers? I got a pair in my pocket here. It's very fine print on this sticker. My eyeballs work pretty good, but on the tiny stuff, you know. So on here it says, what the hell does it say? It says another Santa with an L, Santel. Another Santal product made in Japan. It's got a Van Nuys address, which is pretty wild. And it's a company called Santa International, Ltd. I guess they made Christmas stuff. It's got the original stopper in the bottom. If you try to get this, it wants to rip, so I don't want to peel that out. It's just has all fallen apart. I have to figure out a new plug for that. But my dad bought this for me the day I was born, and I was thinking about it because hospitals have gift shops. And this is a mid-century item. And, I was born in 1966, and there's a bunch of these on the listing. I mean, maybe a dozen of them. You can buy one if you're interested. This was about the nicest one for the price. This was the lowest price one. And I just imagine my dad, because I heard the stories about how happy he was. I'm the first kid he knew about, anyhow. Because I did find a brother after my dad died, a few years older than me. You guys don't know that story. I've mentioned it before. We don't have to get into it now. I found him after my dad died that same year, and we're pretty tight. I haven't talked to him in a while. At any rate, I just imagine my father being all excited about, his new baby boy, and just going in the store and being like, I got to buy something for him. And this was what he bought. And so as a little kid, this was an important thing to me. It was just like a love, my dad was real big on that, like buying little things. And we talked about the stuff falling off the back of the truck, the unexpected gift at the unexpected time. And this meant something to me when I was little. That, again, my mom just broke. So, yeah. This is what we do when we get older. We recreate our past, right? We didn't have any money. Like, I got G.I. Joes and stuff like that, got destroyed or whatever. So it's just a nice, pleasant thing. I might start stuffing bills in here over time and forget about it. Leave it to my niece or something when I die. You probably have $1,000 in there if I did that. If I did like $100 bills over time. At any rate, that's it. I know you guys were curious. That's what that is. No big deal. Let's try not to break it. Let's leave it in the background. You guys might be able to see that on camera. I don't really feel like I have anything else to tell you, to be honest. I have a thought on the van. We'll get in that. We'll talk about Tacopa a little bit. Today, when I got back to the van, I get a lot of people talking to me about the van. A lot of Hispanic people like the Astro van. And I just had a weird vibe from this guy for some reason. He had a baby in his arms. And he had a Chevy pickup. He was parked in front of me on the street. And I got into the van, and he struck up a conversation with me. He's like, nice truck. He started asking me some questions about it. And I volunteered some information, and I felt like maybe I shouldn't. You guys have to understand, I'm a little paranoid about it. if you don't know, many of you do, I had a two-wheel drive cargo Astro van that about 5 years ago or so got stolen. And I lost my tools that were in there. I had a tool tote in there and a bike that I actually was returned to me. I had a handgun in there that fortunately they didn't get, so when they recovered the van, it was still in there. And I'm just always paranoid about that. I don't like leaving the van in too many places. On this street where I park, where I go to the swap meet on Sundays, which isn't every Sunday, but often, there's just something about that spot that always has me a little bit concerned. So I try to get in and get out. Because of the lift, it'd be real easy for somebody to come in and want to cut the catalytic converters off, for instance. And there was something about talking to this guy after I spoke to him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I built it. I did this. I did that. It's all new now. You know, everything's been replaced." And as I was leaving, he got right on the phone right away. He was making a call, and I remember feeling weird when I walked up too, just because he was staring at the van, even though he had a baby with him, which is great cover, by the way. If you're doing something nefarious, borrow somebody's kid. Borrow your sister's baby or something. Like walk around with a baby. Nobody's going to think that you're a criminal. Plus, the little kids get to learn valuable skills. I'm just saying. It's just a paranoia that I have. And one of the things I've been needing to do, and I'm just not an electrical guy. I know I could do it. I've done it in the past with other things, but I need to put a kill switch in the van. Maybe I need somebody to hold my hand with that. Maybe Dave. Dave, you watching? You can give me a hand on that. I want to put a kill switch in the van. Maybe a couple other theft deterrent ideas. It's just a smart thing to do. I also need to go through again and get in touch with my insurance company about it. I talked to them not long ago. Well, it probably has been now. It's probably been almost a year or so. There's a blue book that doesn't cover what you put into it, but what they've told me is I also have renter's insurance. So that covers the stuff that's in the van. Like that's how I learned last time. I didn't get anything for the stuff in the van. Now I'm covered. So if I got my kit in there, because that could be, honestly, when you think about your tool, like what you spent on your tools, if I got a full Makita set in there and my tool tote and everything else, that could be $30,000 in tools. That's not an exaggeration. So when you really start adding stuff up, I could easily have that in the van, especially with other gear and other things that are in there. Could be more than that. So at least I'm covered for that. And the really neat thing is I've got all my receipts pretty much, but better than that, I've got all the videos. So I could prove, because they will give you, if you've put a new transmission in that thing and that thing gets stolen or other new parts, that actually gets factored in. That's what they told me, and I've got USAA. So, I feel pretty good about it, but I wouldn't mind a secondary possible insurance on it. We just got to see how things pan out with money coming in. There hasn't been any lately. I've been real lackadaisical on it lately. I had an issue. I was just getting too lethargic, and I was getting kind of puffy. I just wasn't getting up and moving like I should. We're going to go on to another topic here. We're off the van thing. We're off the swap meet fines. We're off George and the other thing. We're moving on to a new topic. Just so you know, I'm not weaving. I got it. The lethargic, not having the energy. I stumbled upon this woman, and she's got this moniker of the glucose goddess. And I watched an interview with her with somebody, and she's got some pretty good tips. And I thought, well, okay, I'm aware of these things. Let's give some of this a shot. And so and I have apple cider vinegar, and I like to take a swig of it from time to time. She makes a good point. She says you shouldn't drink it raw. I've trained myself. I can just take it from the bottle and gulp a whole bunch of that down. It doesn't bother me too much. But you shouldn't do that. You should dilute it in water because apparently the vinegar could screw up the enamel on your teeth. I kind of do this and I just swallow it right away. I don't swish it around in my mouth first. But what I've been doing, either I'm putting it in water or I'm doing the swig. Then I'm taking water and swishing the water around my mouth to rinse my mouth. I think I'm pretty safe that way. But one of her tips is to have about a tablespoon of vinegar of some sort, and before you eat something, particularly something that's going to spike your sugar levels. And what she's proved through science is that if you eat something that's going to spike your sugar levels, something with glucose, whether it's eating a piece of fruit or eating a piece of candy or whatever, there's the level that spikes in your blood, right? But then if you drink the vinegar first, it's like half of that. And then her other tip is just moving after you eat, which is normal. My take on things, as I was coming up and exercising a lot, was always to exercise first, then eat. That was always what was going on in my brain, figuring your body needed the energy at that point. But for the last, not very long, 4 days or so, maybe 5, I've been doing these things. And I've been doing that, by the way, to kind of tighten me up a bit. And I had more energy. So I started doing my push-ups again and burpees and doing pull-ups. And last night I was doing it after so many days in a row, and I was just jacked and tight and had a pump from it. I was like, this is motivating. So I'm just highly motivated to get more fit. So hopefully I'll get on this kick again and stick with it, because I'm fortunate. Muscle has memory, and I easily get into pretty good shape just by putting a couple weeks of time in. Like every day I'm doing something. It doesn't mean working out for an hour. There's a lot of other interesting stuff out there, and I've shared this stuff before, but lately it's like the universe has hit me with little reminders, mostly through videos. All of a sudden I stumble upon something. That happened today, actually. I was doing something, and I stumbled onto a video that was all about it. I can't remember what it was now. But my point there is that one of the other things is, like, let's say you want to do 100 push-ups a day. Well, if you try to do 100 push-ups in one shot, that's difficult. And you could do 10 sets of 10 right after the other, short break in between. But really all that matters is the cumulative number in a day. You don't have to do them all at once and wear yourself out. Rogan mentioned this guy. I can't remember his name, but I did look him up, and then a bunch of his stuff started popping up. And it's pretty interesting, and I agree with him. And his thing is like, let's say you're going to do a set of curls kind of heavy. Do the set, and then put it down and walk away for 15 or 20 minutes. Like, let your body recoup, then come back to it later and do another full set, because you'll be able to get those reps in again. So it's the same idea with push-ups. Like, let's say you can only do 10 push-ups at a time, right? Well, do your 10 push-ups and then wait 10 minutes or so. Do something else, watch your TV or whatever. Like, Herschel Walker used to, he wasn't like, he didn't go to the gym, Herschel Walker. His thing was push-ups and sit-ups, mainly. Probably pull-ups and everything else. And he loved watching TV, like vegging, watching TV. But back in the day, we had commercials, right? These days, if you're watching TV, you can fast forward to the commercial. If you DVR things, that's what I do. But when a commercial come on, that's what he would do, 100 push-ups. He would do 100 sit-ups, whatever it was. So it's the same thinking. If you did 10 sets of 10 throughout the day, which is easy, that's an easy thing to do. That's 100 push-ups in a day. Now, just to have a quick discussion about push-ups. I'm a nitpicker on form with push-ups, right? Now, there's videos of me doing push-ups when I was doing 22 push-ups a day for the veterans years ago, and I wasn't super, like, I know what my form is. It always feels right, but when you watch yourself on screen doing it, you could go, wait a sec, why is my ass up in the air? It doesn't look like I'm locking my elbows out all the way every time. I'm usually pretty good about getting my sternum to hit the floor every time. That doesn't really matter too much, to be honest with you. Like, I know, like, I have some bodybuilder pals from back in the day, and I was hanging with one a couple years ago somewhere, and he was just doing these quick little short stroke push-ups. I was giving him a little grief for it, and he got in my face about it. He's like, don't tell me. And he was right, because you're still getting that pump. So, like, if you do 40 short push-ups, you're getting a pump from that. That's fine, because that's what you're after. If you're into, like, really building, well, maybe you want to go slower. and go slower on the way down and force your way up. And maybe you want your sternum to hit the floor every time. You want to think about where your hands are placed. You don't want to have your elbows out. You want your elbows in at 45 degrees when you're doing that, right? If you're doing triangle push-ups, which are great because they're going to work your triceps more, make sure you're keeping your elbows tight to your body. These are things I'm always thinking about, always engaging my core. When I do this extreme burpee push-up thing where I'm in the Asian squat, then I lean forward with my hands on the ground, kick back into push-up position, do the push-up all the way to sternum, all the way locked out. Then I jump back up, but I jump into the squat. So I'm still super low. Then I stand up. And when I do that, I make sure I flex my ass and my thighs and everything. So the last few days I've been doing that. It's just been awesome. I'm sure I'll do it again tonight. So it all started by just getting some vinegar in my system and adjusting that and getting tighter and leaner. It's very strange. Also, I've been not eating as much. Like, this was another experiment I did. So for years now, I've been eating 4 eggs with some cheese in a cast iron pan, cooking, with butter. And it's been great. But like, I'm in the shop and I noticed that I always got to go to the can at some point in the afternoon. And sometimes it's like an emergency. Like, all of a sudden it hits you. It's like, oh crap, I got to go. And I don't like going into that house, with those people there. So I was doing another thing where I wasn't eating. And I was working all day and coming home just eating dinner. And that felt okay. But I was like, nah, I need a little energy during the day. So I was eating other snack stuff like dried banana chips or something like that, which is carbs. And it's got that sugar spike to it. So what had happened was that I found myself getting puffier, but I was doing okay on the energy, kind of. I just been experimenting with my body lately, with just changing up my diet is all I'm saying. And so what happened was I had all these eggs in here and I wasn't eating them. And I thought, how can I get my eggs again without the need to come home for lunch? And I remembered hard-boiled eggs. And I had a giant pickle jar in the fridge that still had some pickles in it. And they've been in there for a while, but I don't think that goes bad. I mean, there's no mold in it or anything. So I took the pickles out, ate a couple pickles, and I probably hard-boiled like 14 eggs or something. And I stuck them in there. And I've been eating these hard-boiled eggs. So I'll bring 3 of them with me to work. And that's been awesome. I like a nice pickled egg, every once in a while. I'm just saying, this is a weird thing to be talking about on YouTube, but I'm playing with my diet, my exercise, what I'm doing with my body, the vinegar thing. It's just interesting, and how at least me, I can see it within a couple days. Like, I could feel it pretty much right away, but I can actually see the results quickly. And I think that that's interesting. And I'm only bringing it up so that you guys are aware of it, because I get on that kick every once in a while. I've been guilty of fat shaming people, and I do it. Get up off your fat ass and start moving. But, I get questions from people about it, and I get a lot of messages about it too. You can do it. You just have to try. That's all you got to do. And there's no big mystery to this. The information is out there as far as eating real food. It was an interview with Trump I saw the other day. I think it was the one with Rogan, which was, did you see that? Have you guys seen that? This is something I wanted to talk about, not necessarily the Trump thing, but the amount of dumb stuff I'm seeing on YouTube. There's people that have YouTube channels, well-meaning, I'm not judging them as human beings. I'm just going to sound like I'm judging because I'm about to say it. Some of them are dumb as a friggin' rock, man. Dumb. They just sound, even the cadence to their speech, and it's just, I don't understand it. I can't knock it. They're doing better than I am. Usually it's women because they'll get those numbers, I don't know what that's about. A lot of it's just men wanting to look at them because, they're usually wearing pretty skimpy clothes, that sort of thing. Nice figures and all that. But that, and then every once in a while I get roped into the watching those, like the body cam footage from the cops. Just dumb people, man. Dumb. The latest one lately is because the political season, it always happens, like the yard signs, all right? The people with the Trump derangement syndrome. I watched this video today. It was an old guy. You can't see him, but you could tell. And he's on this patch of grass 2-lane road, 1 lane in each direction. I think he was in North Carolina, somewhere down there. And he had some Trump signs out. It was like, deranged person, Trump signs, whatever the title was. And so happened to be a black guy in a black SUV, pulls up, and they're having words. And the guy in the SUV is just pissed about the Trump signs. And then he decides to pull over and get out of his vehicle because the guy starts walking up and getting the vehicle and wants to get the license plate number because there's a backstory that you don't get at the beginning of the video, which was the guy drove by and said a bunch of smack, turned around, came back around to give the guy more grief about it. And it's just so crazy that it's pretty much just the Trump signs. Like maybe there's people that are taking down Harris signs. I don't know. When I read the comments in these videos, that's not what you hear there. It's always people saying, I see Harris signs all the time. I'm not happy about it, but I don't do anything. I'm not going to get out and ruin the signs. But these guys start having words. And the crazy thing was this guy parked his SUV. He didn't even pull all the way to the curb. So half his vehicle was in the shoulder and the other half was blocking half the traffic lane. So people are honking to get around him. It's a dangerous situation. The guy doesn't care. He's so deranged. And he admitted that sets him off, seeing those signs. So he's admitting his derangement. He's actually getting out of the vehicle to confront somebody, and his vehicle's in a dangerous situation where he should get ticketed for that. They got his license plate and everything. So if the cops watch that video, the guy should get in trouble for it. And that's a tame version of what I'm watching. I'm just blown away by people's stupidity. It's crazy. It's just insane. And I guess the point of it is, I'll be so glad when this friggin' election is over. And I'm hoping that, Trump gets it for whatever. I know somebody's going to go, vote blue in my comments. You guys could put that on there. I don't take those comments down or anything. That's your prerogative. But you've got to tell me one policy that Harris has come up with or done to make America or anybody else on the planet better. Just one. Nothing. She's got nothing. And everything she's been a part of has been garbage and made everything worse. So I think we only have one shot. We only have one chance. And you have to vote red this time at least. That's just how it is. So it's crazy. I'll be glad when it's over. But one of the great things that he's been doing, Trump's been doing these podcast interviews, long form interviews, 2 hours, 3 hours, just talking. And, I could see how some people could be annoyed at his way of speaking, but he's like 80. He's like early 80s or something, late 70s. I don't even know how old the guy is. He's got a ton of energy. Rogan said the other day, like, he didn't get up to pee. He didn't pee before the interview, didn't pee during the interview, didn't pee after the interview. The guy's, that's a healthy state there. Unless he's got a catheter or he's borrowing some of Biden's diapers or something. Like, that's pretty amazing. And, the first 20 to 30 minutes of the Rogan interview, Trump's kind of going. I could tell that Rogan can't figure out what he wants to do. He's trying to rope him in. But they do touch on some stuff that's really important. And when Trump got into policy about how to build the economy and where to cut things and the whole discussion on tariffs and talking about President Harris and all those things, which is great. The guy knows his history. Just listen to him when he's talking about the history of things. It's amazing. And the reason you don't see Kamala doing it is because she can't do it. All right? When she doesn't have a teleprompter, she doesn't have a script. She's not prepared with the questions already, so she knows what her scripted answers are. Because if you watch her enough, I've watched her plenty, it's always the same stuff, and she's always turning it back on Trump constantly. The racist stuff, the Nazi stuff, all of it. It's not going to work. It's going to work for enough people. The people that are so deranged they're going to pull over and take down a Trump sign, those people. My only other concern is the amount of people they've been bringing into the country that aren't legal that are going to end up voting. You're going to say, they can't. It's impossible. Well, how do you know? How do you know? Because we don't have voter ID. Are you for voter ID? If you're against voter ID and you're not worried that there's millions of illegals here, what are you saying? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that we basically need to clean house, drain the swamp, whatever you want to give it. All right. People need to get fired. Truth needs to come out with the corruption with these people. It all needs to happen. There needs to be a culling. We need to get term limits in place. We need to get rid of some of these giant bureaucracies that have proven to be a failure and only cost us more money. We need to stop giving billions of dollars away to other countries and not focus on ourselves. And this brings me to one last point here. It's a bold statement, and you can argue with me about it. It's fine. Americans are the best people on the planet as far as like giving money to people. It's amazing. And it's something I've always known. I've always seen it. Even through the churches, whatever. People somehow still do well enough, even with a shitty economy and spending, $5 for gas out here, a gallon, and the cost of eggs and everything going up, the cost of energy in general. It's not just the gasoline, it's all fuel, right? And then they still give money to help other people out. Case in point, I did a video the other day because a couple people asked about how they can get me money for gas money to go to Tacoma. And I told you my PayPal, just Mike at MikeZDesign.com. And I have Zelle. I guess you need my number for that. But somebody told me I could do it with my email address. So I got to go to my bank and maybe I can do that on my phone. I'll set that up. But I don't have your names. I'm sorry. I should have had the computer open with the emails. But there's a woman named Teamy, and I know Jim, and somebody named John, and a bunch of people tossed me some coin for gas money, and that's a big deal for me, because that means I don't have an excuse not to go. I have to go now, because these people sent me gas money. Don't have enough money to eat while I'm there, or buy beer. So if you're there and you want to buy me a beer and a burger, I'll take it. But that was amazing. It's amazing. I'm just blown away with it. And when I think about the YouTube and I realize like I'm not cashing in on it, like I'm not using it to its fullest potential business wise to make money off of it. I probably will at some point. I'll slowly work into it. I just don't want to be seen as that kind of person. I don't want you guys to look at me like he's just doing this because he's getting paid. I'm doing it because I want to do it, and I feel like we have a rapport now, and I think we're all getting a kick out of it, right? So, yeah, but again, when you think about it, it blows my mind because people do Patreon. That's not a lot. It could be $1 a month. It could be $5 a month. It's whatever the person wants to set it up as. People pay for that because they're being entertained. And so I guess I've been reluctant to include myself in as one of these people. Like when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I was talking about it, and I said somewhere along the lines like, I have to call myself and accept the fact that I'm now a content creator. Influencer would be a strong word. I'm not sure I like that one yet. I could see it with style because of the hobo chic vibe I got going on here. If you all start looking like this, I'll take credit for it. Hobo chic, man. But the influencer is a strong thing, and I don't know that I want to be the only, except for it being positive. Like if I'm influencing you in a way to do your own research on stuff, like read up on things, read opposing points of view, really study up on different subjects, especially with the politics. Like if you still hate Trump and you think he's really a felon and all that, when that's all nonsense, then you're not doing your research. You're just believing what you're hearing and repeating it, unfortunately. And it's all bogus. So many things that they hate that guy for, like the Russian collusion, bogus nonsense, all of it. It's lies. So that's a problem. But that's not all. Health and fitness. It's pretty simple, man. Just get up and do it. If I'm motivating you to move your ass, that's good. If I'm motivating you to get that old bike out of your garage and clean it off and get it running again, that's good. If I'm getting you to go in and look at your stuff and start wearing a watch again, that's good. If you've got a watch that was your dad's or your grandfather's, if it's sitting in a drawer broken and now you've decided to send it someplace and have it serviced so it could work again and you could wear it, That's good. If I'm giving you an appreciation for different things that you haven't thought of before, or maybe you were aware of it back in the day, and now you see me doing it, the Alice Pack stuff, whatever it is, that's good, right? I want this place here where we're at right now, you and me, even though I can come off, I can do some zingers and I can say some things that are slightly controversial to some of you. The thing with the spraying in the sky, I get into all that stuff. UFO stuff, the Sasquatch stuff. Just so many people are just like vehemently against those things. But what I know is that some of you that are, you've maybe, if you're here, you probably like me to a certain extent. If you've already grown to like me, and what I have to say most of the time, it's amazing when you make those comments where you're like, I don't agree with everything that you say, but I like you and I like watching your videos and keep doing it. Like, that's basically what I get. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make it so that, this is a place where we can all be cool and uplift one another and be positive with one another and help nudge each other along, to do positive things and get things done instead of just being a lazy lump on a log, right? That's what's really going on in my brain. Let's just keep encouraging one another. I'll tell you, those of you guys that are married and in good relationships, I envy you, because I know two people working together as a team to get things done is important. I can imagine how much further along I'd be in life if I had a partner. It was like, hey, Mike, you were supposed to do that yesterday or 2 days ago. That's been sitting there for a week. Why haven't you done that yet? I could probably use just a smidgen of that. I don't want to nag and I don't want to be annoyed. This is why I'm single. But a little smidge of, hey, or just somebody to help you out. Like, you come home and something's done already, like that I don't have to worry about doing, would be freaking huge, man. And when I'm with somebody, I'm that guy with them. Like, every woman I've ever gone out with that has a talent, I'm pushing them to do that talent. We go out somewhere, I'm like, oh, you should see what she does. I do that with my friends. You see me do it. You see me do it on this channel. If there's somebody here I'm talking to, I'm telling you, this guy is awesome. Here's why I like this guy, is what he does, or this girl, or whatever. If you have anything nice to say, shut the hell up. Just let's all be nice. Let's try to all be positive. Unless, of course, you're like me and you just know these people are dumb as a friggin' stump on YouTube. Which is not nice. It's not nice to say. So I know I talk out of both sides of my mouth. That's because I'm a human being. Overall, I want it to all be positive and us to be, getting along, right, with one another and keeping it upbeat. At the same time, I'm a normal human being, and I'm from Jersey, so I can't help it. I can be a little cynical once in a while and be like, what the? I can do those things. I prefer not to. So that's it. We're just going to be a short video today, I think. So I just want to leave you with, as I always try to do, be kind to one another. Try to uplift one another. Let's help each other out, okay? Oh, I will say this too. If there's something that I've talked about where like I'd sell this or whatever, and you're going to be in Tacoma and you're interested in something, like one of those watches, or, maybe I'll bring, a bunch of these with me if you guys want. If you want one, I'll be selling them. I can use a couple extra bucks, so let me know. It's not a big deal for me to bring something. And I can't bring a giant thing. I'm going to try to do this trip with the van pretty much empty this time, because I'll be camping out of the van on this trip. There's several ways for me to do this. I could drive out Saturday morning, do the event, party down, crash in the van, get up in the morning, maybe hit the hot spring to use the bathroom and everything, and get in the van and drive home. I could do that, and I might do that. I should probably go into Pahrump and see Patricia and maybe do that video, the unboxing of the battle box. I should probably call her today or send her a text or something. I can go in. I know Matt's out of town right now. He's doing some cigar thing, but maybe he'll be there by next weekend. I'm sure he will be. So it'd be nice to go see those guys and possibly do a video there. It'd be nice to get a bunch of videos out of this trip. So we'll just see. But I'm not planning on paying it to stay someplace. So it's just staying in the van. So that's a thing. Also, and I got to reach out to this guy too. So there's Dalton from Pole Barn Garage. We were emailing, and he said he'd let me know when he was going to be in Arizona. Now, I know he's leaving right now, and I haven't checked. Email's a problem for me on my phone, but it turns out I have a Google account that I don't use very much, but that's what I was using to contact him. But I got to go to the site to check the emails, and I haven't done it in days, so I need to do it. Maybe he did get back to me. He could be driving right now to the Southwest. It sounds like he's doing a bunch of different things, but if I check him out now and he says, hey, I'm going to be in Arizona now, like this week and the next 2 days, well, then I'm driving to Arizona now. And then I would hit Tacoma on the way back. Or if it's after the 2nd, I would do Tacoma and then maybe drive to Arizona and see if I could hook up with him. Because to me, it's an important, I really like that guy and I really like his channel. He doesn't need my help. He'd be helping me more than I'd be helping him. That's just the fact of the matter. That's just the reality. But I like the guy, and I think it would be fun. Sounds like he's up for it. If we just could sit down next to each other, have a beer, talk about his history with cars. Because he's a young guy. He's only 31. He's got like a 14-year-old kid, so do the math there. Dalton. And the gal he's with, Jess, she's a sweetheart. And everybody I've seen around him, they're all nice people. So, he's attracting quality human beings. I like to think I'm doing the same thing. Out of all the people I'm attracting, and then I look at him and his people, I'm probably the worst person out of all of them. So, I'm saying, though, I'm just letting you all know this, because if you go to meet me there and I'm there Saturday and then I disappear, that's maybe why, because I've got to shoot off to go do something else. That's kind of what's going on there. And after this Tacoma trip, I come back. I got to do a job in the valley. Probably take me a couple days. I'm going to have to go to work with this lady, but I have been dragging ass because I got to do an email for her and her mom and lay down the ground rules and money and everything else. I have not done it. I've just been reluctant. I just keep hoping the phone's going to ring or I'm going to get an email, because that's usually how it happens. It's always, hey, man, can you do this for me? And then I'm back to work again, because I'm avoiding going back over there. But it's probably going to have to happen. These are all the things that are going on in my brain. And that's it. This is just another ramble session. Thank you for liking these videos. Honestly, by the time I get to this point in the video where I'm about to sign off, did I already sign off? I did. I signed off. I told you to be good to one another, and I'm still talking. I hate when I do that. And so do you probably. I'm just always shocked that these videos do so well. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. Things are going to get way more interesting, I promise, especially once I'm doing the move, once I'm doing the work on the house and everything else. And, yeah. And like I said, being able to just ride around LA and show you guys stuff, I haven't been doing it because I was working so hard all summer and it was hot. Now things are cooled off. My brain is gelling a little bit better now. I've got, like I said, I've got the energy. I'm working on it with the diet and everything else. So you'll start seeing more of that stuff. And apparently a lot of people are happy about the bike stuff. People were jonesing for the bike videos for so long. And now I dumped just a bunch of them on you. And there's more to come with that. So stay tuned if you're into that sort of thing too. That's it. I'm done. Be kind to one another. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And, I'll see you in the next one, all right? Yeah? And for those of you who are going to be in Tacoma next weekend on Saturday, I'll see you then. There's a chance I might be there a couple days early. There's a chance I might be there a couple days earlier or later. I don't know how I'm going to work this yet. I haven't talked to anybody else. Goodbye. I'll catch you in the next one.